cared more, because you were the stronger person, because love means sacrifice. But what if that story you kept telling yourself was completely wrong? What if the chasing itself was the very thing destroying you? The Stoics knew something that most people spend decades learning the hard way. They knew that the moment you begin chasing another person, you hand them something far more valuable than your time or your affection. You hand them your peace, and once that is gone, nothing else matters. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever walked this earth, a man who commanded armies and ruled an empire, wrote in his private journal that the greatest victory a person can ever achieve is the victory over oneself, not over an enemy, not over a rival, over yourself. And what he meant by that goes deeper than most people ever stop to think about. He meant that the real battle is always internal. The real test is whether you can hold your own ground when someone gives you every reason to abandon it. And the hardest version of that test is the one where the person making you abandon yourself is someone you actually care about. Today we are going to talk about 3 specific behaviors. 3 things that certain people do, sometimes without even realizing it, that signal one undeniable truth. They do not value your presence. And the Stoic response to that truth is not anger, not bitterness, not a dramatic exit. It is something far more powerful. It is the quiet, unshakable decision to stop chasing, to stand still, to reclaim yourself. So if you are sitting here right now thinking about someone in your life, a friend, a partner, a family member, someone who keeps pulling you forward and then pulling back, keep watching. Because what you are about to hear might be the thing that finally sets you free. The first behavior is inconsistency. Not the normal kind of inconsistency that every human being has, because we all have bad days and off moments and periods where we go quiet. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about a pattern, a rhythm of hot and cold that never quite resolves into something stable. One week they are present, warm, engaged, and you feel like the connection is real. The next week they are distant, unavailable, short with their words, and you find yourself replaying everything, trying to figure out what you did wrong. And this is the trap. Because when someone is inconsistent with you, your brain does not conclude that they are inconsistent. Your brain concludes that you are not enough, that if you just tried harder, showed up better, gave more, the warm version of them would stay. The Stoics called this kind of thinking an error of judgment. Epictetus, who was born a slave and who understood, better than almost anyone, what it meant to have no control over your external circumstances, said this. He said that suffering comes not from things themselves, but from our judgments about things. When someone treats you inconsistently and you respond by chasing them harder, you are making a judgment. You are deciding that their behavior is a reflection of your worth. But it is not. It never was. Inconsistency in another person is information about that person. It tells you they have not made a decision about you. And here is what no one wants to say out loud but needs to be said. A person who wants to be in your life will be in your life consistently. Not perfectly, but consistently. Effort does not disappear and reappear every other week when something is real. And when you chase someone through their inconsistency, you are not winning them over. You are teaching them that they can keep you waiting indefinitely and you will still be there. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power you have when someone is being inconsistent with you is the power to stop waiting for them to make up their mind, to stop performing for an audience of one who keeps walking out of the theater, to close that chapter not because you are giving up, but because you are choosing yourself. And that is not weakness. That is one of the most stoic acts a person can perform. The second behavior is the one that cuts deepest, and it is this: they only reach out when they need something. Think about the people in your life right now. There might be someone whose name lights up your phone, and your first instinct is not warmth, but wariness. Because somewhere in your gut you already know. This person is not calling to check on you. They are not reaching out because they thought about you or missed your presence. They are reaching out because there is something they want. A favor, a conversation that serves them, emotional support that drains you while filling them, and the moment they have what they came for, they disappear again like smoke. Seneca wrote something in one of his letters that hit like a cold wind on a clear day. He wrote that a friendship built on advantage is not a friendship at all. It is a transaction. And the cruelest part of a transactional relationship is that it wears the costume of something real. It looks like closeness. It feels like intimacy in the moments when they are present and engaged and seemingly grateful for you. But the moment the need is gone, so are they. And if you have been chasing this kind of person, trying to deepen a bond that only ever goes one direction, you know exactly how exhausting that is. You know what it feels like to be emotionally generous with someone who never deposits anything back. The Stoic path here is not to become cold or closed off. It is to become clear. There is a difference between a person who is going through a hard season and leans on you more than usual, and a person who has structured the entire relationship so that it serves only them. The first is human. The second is a pattern. And patterns do not lie. When you look at the full picture of a relationship, and you see that the exchange has almost never been equal, that you have been the one giving your time, your energy, your emotional availability, and they have been the one taking, that is not a friendship or a connection worth chasing. That is a habit worth breaking. Here is the Stoic practice for this. The next time this person reaches out, before you respond, ask yourself one question. Has this person ever shown up for me the way I have shown up for them? Not once, not out of obligation, but genuinely, freely, without needing something in return. If the honest answer is no, then you have your answer, not about them, about what you need to do. Now we get to the third behavior, and this one is the most subtle and the most damaging. It is this. They make you feel like you are always on the verge of losing them. There is this low-level anxiety that lives in certain relationships. A constant hum underneath everything. You are never quite sure where you stand. You can feel them pulling away even when they are still physically present. You measure your words. You monitor your tone. You hold yourself back from being fully honest because you are afraid of what happens if you push too far. And in doing all of this, you have stopped being yourself. You have become a managed version of yourself, edited and careful, because the relationship feels too fragile to hold the real you. Epictetus said that no person is free who is not master of himself. But when you are constantly adjusting yourself to keep someone comfortable, to prevent them from withdrawing, to manage their reaction to your authenticity, you are not mastering yourself. You are surrendering yourself. You are letting someone else's emotional availability determine how much of you gets to exist in any given moment. And that is the deepest cost of chasing someone who makes you feel like you are always one wrong move away from losing them. You lose yourself first. Long before they ever leave, you have already gone. The Stoics had a concept they returned to again and again. It was the idea of living according to nature. And what they meant by that was not anything mystical. They meant living in alignment with your own reason, your own values, your own truth. When you are in a relationship where you constantly feel like you are on thin ice, where your authentic self is too much or too little, or somehow always the wrong shape for the space you are given, that relationship is asking you to live against your nature. It is asking you to shrink. And no connection, no matter how good it feels in its best moments, is worth the cost of becoming smaller than you are. Here is what the Stoics would tell you to do. Not tomorrow, Not after one more conversation. Now, stop, not with cruelty, not with anger. Just stop. Stop performing. Stop monitoring. Stop editing yourself to fit into a space that was never built to hold you fully. Let the silence be what it is. Let the distance reveal the truth. Because here is what always happens when you stop chasing. You find out very quickly who actually wanted to be there. The people who were never really invested simply move on because the chase was the only thing holding them in place. But the people who were real, the ones who actually value you, they notice the stillness, and they move toward you. Marcus Aurelius spent his entire reign fighting wars he did not choose, managing people who disappointed him, carrying burdens that would have crushed a lesser man. And yet his journals, written only for himself, never for an audience, never for performance, are filled not with bitterness, but with this relentless return to one central idea. Focus on what is within your control, your response, your values, your character. The people who stay and the people who leave are not within your control. But who you are while all of it happens, that is entirely yours. You were not built to spend your life running after people who will not stop walking long enough to look at you. You were not built to shrink. You were not built to manage yourself into invisibility, to keep someone comfortable. You were built for relationships where your presence is valued without you having to prove it, where your absence is noticed, where showing up as yourself is enough. So here is what I want you to take away from this. The next time you feel that pull, that urge to reach out one more time, to try one more time, to prove yourself one more time to someone who keeps making you feel like you are not quite enough, pause, take a breath. And remember what Marcus Aurelius knew. The most powerful thing you can do is nothing, not out of pride, not out of game playing, but out of self-respect, out of the deep, quiet knowledge that what is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself to keep it. If this video gave you something today, I want you to drop a comment below. Tell me which of these 3 behaviors hit closest to home for you. I read every comment, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. And if you know someone who is stuck in a cycle of chasing someone who does not value them, share this video with them. Not with a message, just send it. Sometimes the right words at the right moment change everything. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and remember, you do not need to chase what is already yours.